Alright, so today we're going to learn about elapsed time and specifically about the starting and ending times. So in elapsed time, I'm going to use two different tools, or really three. You have the mountain in the green, which represents 1 hour. You have a hill, which represents a set number of minutes that you are going to label like this. So let's say this hill, you would put in here 7 minutes. And then you have a number line on the bottom, which represents your start time and your end time. And you will always have one of those when starting with your elapsed time questions that involve either an end time or a start time. So we're going to start with ending times. So it says Katie took a train from her house to the Capitol. The train lasted 2 hours and 5 minutes. If the train left at 4:50, what time would she get to the Capitol? So the train left at 4:50. So that's my start time, okay? So on my number line here, I'm going to put my start time at the very beginning, and that is at 4:50. And now it says it lasted 2 hours and 5 minutes. So 2 hours, I'm going to draw my mountain for the first hour. And now I'm at 5:50. That's one of them. And now I need to draw another mountain. And now I'm at 6:50, right? So I got rid of my 2 hours. And then I have to add 5 minutes. So I'm going to draw my little hill. And I'm going to label it 5 minutes. And so I add 50 plus 5, which gives me 55. So my answer is 6:55. That is her end time. Another one, George started jogging at 6:50. So he started jogging at 6:50. I can make my number line. My start time is 6:50. Now, he jogged for 2 hours and 55 minutes. What was the time when he finished? So, he jogged for 2 hours, so let me draw two of those mountains. So the first mountain, 6, and then another hour would be 7:50. And then we do one more hour, 7:50 to 8:50. And now it says he jogged 55 minutes. Well, this is where the hard part comes in. I know there's 60 minutes in an hour, okay? So really, I only need 10 minutes left to jump from 8:50 to 9, right? Because I do 60 minus 50 equals 10, right? And so to get from 50 to 9 o'clock, I just add 10 minutes. So I'm going to add one hill that's worth 10 minutes. And that gives me to 9 o'clock, right? So I added 10 minutes there. So now I'm going to take those 55 minutes and subtract 10 from it. And that leaves me with 45 minutes. So my next jump is 45 minutes long. And now I know 0 plus 45 is just 45. So my end time is 9:45. Okay, so bring it back real quick to the part that's probably a little bit confusing. When we had 8:50 right here, okay, we had already jumped our 2 hours, so I can get rid of those 2 hours. Now we just had the 55 minutes left. So I first wanted to get to 9 o'clock. To get to 9 o'clock, I had to add 10 minutes, right? 8:50 plus 10 minutes is 9 o'clock. So I jumped 10 minutes, and I got to 9 o'clock. But because I'd taken 10 of those 55 minutes, I had to do 55, take away the 10 that I jumped to get to 9 o'clock, which left me with 45 minutes. So then I jumped 45 minutes from that 9 o'clock, and it made my ending time 9:45. Next, Dave spent 3 hours and 55 minutes working on his homework. If he started at 5:05, what time was it when he finished? Well, he started at 5:05. So I will do this. Put 5:05 right here as my start time. Now it says he spent 3 hours. So I'm going to draw 3 mountains. So 1, that gives me to 6:05. Another hour passes. That gets me to 7:05. And then another hour passes, and that gives me to 8:05. Okay, so now I'm done with my 3 hours. Next, I have 55 minutes. Well, I can see here that I'm trying to get to 9 o'clock, right? And 55 minutes is exactly the right amount that gets me to 9 o'clock. So to do that, to see if that's correct, I can do 60, because that's what a full hour is, right? And we've already spent 5 of those minutes because it's 8:05. So I can do 60 minus 5, which gets me 55 minutes. So I only need a 55-minute jump to get to 9 o'clock, and that's exactly what I have here. So my jump to 9 o'clock is worth 5. It's not worth 5. It's worth 55 minutes. So 9 o'clock is the end time. Now we're going to do starting time, so you just are working backwards a bit. So it says Janet spent 1 hour and 40 minutes cleaning her room. If it was 3:40 when she finished, what time was it when she started? So because 3:40 and it said finished, that's our ending time. So I'm going to draw a number line here. And then 3:40. Now it says she spent 1 hour. So I'm going to hop back 1 hour. Whoop, which gives me to 2:40. And now I can get rid of that hour. Then it says and 40 minutes. Well, look at that. I have 40 here. So I can just take that 40 away, which gives me there, right? So she started at 2 o'clock. Because this guy right here represents the 1 hour. She ended at 3:40, right? Which gave us a 2:40. And then you take away the 40 minutes, and that puts you at 2 o'clock. Next up, it takes 2 hours and 40 minutes to get from Bianca's house to her aunt's house. If she arrives at her aunt's house at 3:40, what time did Bianca leave her house? So again, that word arrives tells us that's at the end of her journey. So that is the ending time, right? So 3:40 here, and now we're going to work backwards. It says first 2 hours. So we're going to hop back 2 hours. So 3:40 to 2:40, and then 2:40 to 1:40. And now we're done with our 2 hours. We have 40 minutes, right? And so we can do 140 minus 40 minutes, which gives you 1 o'clock. So she left her aunt's house at 1 o'clock. Okay, George was invited to a birthday party that ended at 4:55. If it lasted 3 hours and 40 minutes, what time did the party start? So we're given an ending time of 4:55. So I will label that first. Then I'm going to take my hours. It lasted 3 hours, so I'm going to do 3 mountains. So 1, 2, 3. Now, 4:55, and then it goes to 3:55, and then 2:55, and then 1:55, right? And now we're done with our 3 hours, and we have the 40 minutes. Well, this one works out well because 55 right here is bigger than 40. So I can just do 155 minus 40 minutes, which equals 15, right? 1:15. So now I can hop back 40 minutes. And I have a start time of 1:15. And again, you can do that. You can check your work by going forwards. So I'll show you all that in red. So if we have 1:15, and we add 40 minutes to it, you would do 40 plus 15, which gets you 55. So we would have 55. And then we're done with our 40 minutes. Then you jump 3 hours. 1, 2, 3. So you have 155 to 255, 255 to 355, and 355 to 455. This last one's a little bit more tricky. It says Janet spent 3 hours and 25 minutes cleaning her room. If she finished at 7:20, what time did she start cleaning? So it gave us an ending time of 7:20. So I'm going to draw my line, and it's going to end at 7:20. Now, I'm going to address my hours first, and I have 3 of them, so I'm going to make 3 mountains. 1, 2, 3, right? And that means I go from 7:20 to 6:20, from 6:20 to 5:20, and from 5:20 to 4:20. So I'm done with my 3 hours. Then I have 25 minutes left. But if you look here, the time I have right now ends in 20. So what I do is I take away that 20 first to get me just to 4 o'clock, okay? Because I'm not going to do 420 minus 25, okay? That's a no-go. We don't do that. So I'm just going to take away the 20 minutes first to get from 4:20 to 4, okay? And so I had 25 minutes. I just spent 20 of them. I'm left with 5 more. So now, this guy right here is a 0, and I can't do 0 minus 5. So what I'm going to treat him as is a 60. Okay? So I'm going to change that 0 to a 60, which is going to really change my 4 to a 3. So instead of looking at this as 4 o'clock, I'll look at it as 3:60. Alright? Because 3 hours and 60 minutes is the same thing as 4 hours. And now I can subtract 5. So I can't do 0 minus 5, so I'll go next door and borrow. And that is a 5. So 10 minus 5 is 5. 5 minus nothing is 5. And then you have a 3. So I jump back 5 minutes. And I get 3:55.